Hello, this is John Paval with This Week, the week of December 16th, roundup of big stage productions, meaning orchestral works, dance productions, large choral works, and we have all of that for you this week. We have a choir from St. John's College, Cambridge. We have a dance group from Russia, from the Russian state of Nadezhdina. We have some superior soloists, including a flautist and a pianist. We have a venerable conductor on hand for you in Herbert Blomstedt. So it's a highly interesting weekend, if not a completely Christmas dominated weekend. So let's get right to what we have for you this week. This Thursday, December 19th, we'll be wishing you a very merry, 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 merry Christmas with Christmas carols sung by St. John's College, Cambridge choirs as guests of the Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg. That's right, they'll be in Hamburg singing English Christmas carols. The St. John's College, Cambridge choir is practically or virtually an institution in England. Its roots go back to the 16th century. Their conductor is Christopher Gray. This choir consists of around 20 children. I think I have a separate photo of them that I can share with you. There they are. And this photo matters because in it, you see there's at least one girl singer, maybe more. And one of the things that they point out in their informational program is that St. John's College was perhaps the first of the traditional all-male college choirs in England to bring in girls and women starting in 2022, when nobody else had done it yet. Now it's been spreading. The choir consists of about 20 children, both boys and girls, and young people, and 18 to 20 adults. The reason why that photo was important was I must have looked at 35 different photos of this group. This is the only one that I found with girls in it, so it is new. Most of the pictures going back through the history of this group, it's just all boys. And well, I was I was in a boys choir when I was a boy, and well, if you've been in a boys choir, you know what that's about. Now, it's also interesting, the organist who is accompanying them, who's come along with them from England, it's Thomas Trotter, who received the Queen's Medal for Music back on St. Cecilia's Day. She's the patron of music. In 2020, he's been the city organist of the city of Birmingham since 1983, and also the resident organist of their magnificent Claes organ in the Symphony Hall in Birmingham. And if you know anything about the Birmingham Symphony, you know that it's one of the tops in the world. He has also won the International Performer of the Year Award in 2012 from the New York City chapter of the American Guild of Organists. And in 2016, he won the Royal College of Organists medal. He has played everywhere with everybody. You put together Thomas Trotter with the St. John's College, Cambridge choir singing Christmas carols, and you have a very Yuletide experience. That's on Thursday. We move forward to Friday. And I'm remembering actually to change photos for once, which I have a terrible habit of not doing. When you have a chance to enjoy a musician performing a concerto which was composed for him to play and dedicated to him or her, that's exciting, isn't it? And so it will be on Friday when the Sao Paulo Orchestra in Brazil performs the South American premiere of a concerto for flute, which was composed for the flautist who will be playing it, the Franco-Swiss flautist or flute player, Emmanuel Pahud, whose picture you see there. This is the piece that he'll be playing is called Lux Stellarum, which means the light of the stars. It was composed by the Estonian composer Erkki Sven Thurs as a flute concerto. And he composed it and dedicated it to Emmanuel Pahud. And who is Emmanuel Pahud? He's a Franco-Swiss flautist, although when he was growing up, he was sort of all over the place, and his family was moving around. But he, in his career, he has been for many years the principal flautist of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra. He's a very busy, very active soloist. He performs about 90 solo concerts per year and 70 orchestral performances. That's about 160 performances out of only 365 days in the year. He first studied in Belgium, then at the Paris Conservatory. Then in the early 90s, the Berlin Philharmonic was doing a whole wave of new hires because the post-war generation was moving along and departing. And that is when Emmanuel Pahud got hired by them. As he was only 20 years old at the time, he was the youngest of the new hires. Now, this piece, Lux Stellarum, is... we're told that it has subtle percussion effects, sounds whispered by the soloist himself, trills played on several notes at the same time. There's a glockenspiel, vibraphone, and cymbals involved in the music to show the Lux Stellarum, the light of the stars. In the second half of the concert, the OCESP, that is the Sao Paulo, they call themselves OCESP, Sao Paulo Choir will join the together with the orchestra to be singing some Handel. That is on Friday, and we will give you the time and the link in the comment section. But usually it's their 2:30 in the afternoon Brazilian time concert, which is 6:30 on the East Coast. And no, those times are wrong. You'll have to check what we have written down in the links for you. Interestingly enough, we more often run across dance ensembles being live streamed from Russia than from anywhere else. And on Saturday, December 21st, this continues. The Moscow Philharmonic presents the Beryozka Dance Ensemble. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 11 in the morning on the, no, that's at 5 o'clock European time, okay, CET, 11 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, 8 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock Moscow time. Now, who are the Beryozka Dance Ensemble? The Beryozka Dance Ensemble is a Russian institution. They've been around since 1948. Their official name is I have to read this off a page, it's the Nadezdina State Academic Beryozka Dance Ensemble. Academic is what they use in Russia to describe classical. It doesn't mean that it's like a university. It just means it's classical, like the Moscow Akademska Philharmonic, et cetera, et cetera. We're not told exactly what they're going to be dancing, but if you're interested in seeing some Russian dance performed by a company which is well known and well regarded in Russia since the bad old days of the Soviet Union in 1948, here's your chance to do so. We then move on to Saturday. this Saturday, December 21st. In the evening, European time, afternoon, and morning on the East and West Coast, you may well be asking yourself, if you're paying attention to what I'm telling you now, who do I want to enjoy watching and listening to conducting Bruckner? Do I want to listen to the 97-year-old conducting legend Herbert Blomstedt with the Berlin Philharmonic? Or do I want to enjoy the much younger Philippe Jordan with the Cologne Philharmonic, or Köln Philharmonic, as they pronounce it in Germany? Does it matter whether it costs something or not? The Berlin Phil will cost you, the Köln Phil will not. Does the particular symphony matter? One is playing Bruckner's ninth, which is much more unusual to hear. The other, Bruckner's eighth. I don't know how you decide. First up on Saturday is Herbert Blomstedt conducting Bruckner's ninth symphony in D minor. Herbert Blomstedt is a conducting legend. That you see his photo there on screen besides me. These days, he's seated while he's conducted, but no less energetic. I saw him conducting Brahms's first in here in Stockholm in September, directing the Royal Stockholm Phil, and it was just amazing. That was live streamed too, but that was free of charge. This one is at 7 o'clock Saturday evening European time, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. It will cost you €9.90 or $11 US because it's the Berlin Phil, and they charge for their live streams. I have to say, people like Blomstedt, they're not around forever. I said the same thing about Daniel Barenboim, who started canceling concerts now because his health doesn't hold up. If you've never seen Herbert Blomstedt conduct, or if you've seen him and you loved what he does, this is one of the remaining chances to do so. I don't want to say last, but it's one of the remaining ones, and that may well swing you in the direction of listening to this concert. The Ninth Symphony is one that, another reason for tuning into it is one that literally Bruckner left unfinished. He dedicated it to the beloved God. He was writing it on his deathbed. It contains one of the most beautiful adagios in all of his symphonies, and his adagios are incredible. And he called it himself a farewell to life. So you might want to tune into that. In the first half of the program, they'll be doing Mozart's Concerto for Piano and Orchestra number 20 in D minor, Kerschel 466. And I mentioned that because there's a soloist who will be playing that. Let me put his picture up for you. It is Leif Ove Ansnes, who the Wall Street Journal once called one of the most gifted musicians of his generation. They're always saying this about these soloists, so it's a little bit hyperbole, but he's very good. Norwegian, born in 1970, so that's his generation, those who are in their 50s now. He has been the Berlin Philharmonic's pianist in residence at one point about a decade ago. He started playing with the Berlin Philharmonic as early as 1992, so he's known and loved there. Runs a chamber music festival in Norway, has honorary doctorates from the Juilliard School in New York, the University of Bergen in Norway. If you want to hear Mozart played well, you could do a lot worse than this. So that's your first choice for who you want to have conducting Bruckner on Saturday. But 1 hour later, in a concert starting 1 hour later, you have the Köln Symphony Orchestra with Philippe Jordan conducting. And let me see, I am not sure if I have a separate photo for Philippe Jordan or not. And no, actually, I don't. So we'll just let's do this without a photo up for a minute. we can have that. Thanks, guys. Anyway, this is Philippe Jourdan conducting Anton Bruckner's Symphony No. 8 in C minor. It's at 8 o'clock on Saturday evening, European time, 2 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast. You can't cheat around between the two. I mean, because it's like the earlier concert, the first half is going to be the Mozart. So these two versions are going to collide. Anyway, it's 80 minutes long, which is Bruckner's longest symphony. Everybody's playing it. This may influence your choice. Alan Gilbert made it sing 2 weeks ago with the Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg, which was live streamed. It was, I don't really like Bruckner, but Alan Gilbert made me like Bruckner's 8th a lot. And Andres Nelson conducted the 8th last week with the Berlin Phil. This is the 200th anniversary of the birth of Bruckner, so everybody's getting in on the act. So it's been played a lot. You might have already heard it from them. Now, you might have heard the others conducting it and want to make a comparison too. I don't know. But this was his greatest success. It was the one that after Johannes Brahms heard it, and Brahms was one of his fiercest critics. After experiencing this symphony, Brahms had to admit that Bruckner was, no matter how much he disliked him, a genius. Philippe Jourdan is a very dramatic conductor. He's the music director at the Vienna State Opera. And opera directors are always dramatic because opera is dramatic. He also does a lot of guest conducting. So there's your choice. Are you going to be tuning in to Herbert Blomstedt for 990 euros? Or are you going to be turning into Philippe Jourdan for free, doing the 9th and the 8th respectively? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what I will choose yet. Although I'm probably, since I heard Alan Gilbert do the 8th so well, I don't know. I just don't know. I commend both of these to you. Good luck making a choice. And aren't we lucky that more and more often we are being provided with choices like this that we have to make? Not just, can I find a live stream today? It's which one of 2 excellent live streams do I choose? That's terrific. That's new. That wasn't happening even 3 years ago. Okay, finally, there's one last piece I want to tell you about, which is big stage production. It's actually not on this weekend, but it's Monday. And we usually don't do a live stream until Monday, so I want to tell you about it so you know about it in advance. It's the Kennedy Center Millennium Stage. Monday, December 23rd at 6 in the evening on the East Coast in Washington, D.C., 3 in the afternoon on the West Coast, midnight in Europe, and 10 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday morning, down under in Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The Kennedy Center Millennium Stage presents their annual, since 1971, traditional Messiah sing-along. That's right. So this is they say it's one of the most popular events in Washington D.C. The orchestra will be members of the Kennedy Center Opera House Orchestra. There will be guest soloists. There will be a chorus on stage with 150 singers. So the Hallelujah chorus is really going to be a chorus. There will be a very enthusiastic audience singing along, and you will be very welcome to sing along as part of the virtual audience. So if you like these Messiah concerts and you haven't had a chance to get to one this year, here's your chance to get to one. The day before Christmas Eve, December 23rd, when hopefully you've got everything else taken care of for Christmas, and you can just take time out for an hour or two and just settle into the Messiah Christmas spirit. That's what we have for you for this week. I want to mention to you there may be more. We do the research, so all you have to do is click and go. Please do subscribe to us, especially on YouTube, so we can build up our subscriber list and eventually maybe monetize, because I'm working full time on this, guys. And even so, There's a whole list of orchestras, which is so hard to find out what they're live streaming and when that I haven't been able to put in this week. That includes the Gulbenkian Orchestra, which is the top orchestra in Lisbon. They have great programming, but I still don't know what they're live streaming on Friday or whether it's Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. There's the Moscow Philharmonic, which just yesterday was doing Charpentier's Midnight Mass, which we would have loved to tell you about, but it wasn't there on the website the 3 times we checked during the week last week. There's the St. Petersburg Orchestra. There's an orchestra in Tomsk, way out in Siberia, which does great stuff. There's the Frankfurt Radio Symphony Orchestra, which does things. And again, even with all that we tell you about, I find myself on Saturdays or Sundays finding out after the fact, oh, here's the replay of a live stream that was done by one of the orchestras, which we regularly follow, but follow them as we may, the information still wasn't clear enough. This is the reason why Access Arts Live was founded, because it was like more and more I was seeing that there are these performing arts companies saying, yes, we're making our work available to the world, but if the world doesn't know that you're doing it, you're not making it available. And that is the great weakness. There's this rising wave of more and more live streams. So I can hardly keep up with them sometimes. Certain weeks, it's just overwhelming. But in terms of making sure that the global audience knows they're there in advance, not just like putting out a note 24 hours before they do the live stream. No. That's still there. They're still really in their infancy. You need Access Arts Live if you want to follow this stuff. I want to just add, and one thing, I want to add a thank you publicly to Le Pape, who is located in Lyon, France, I think, put up a very nice compliment about us on our Threads, where we also post our live streams. He called Access Arts Live in French une source d'information essentielle, an essential source of information about classical music online. He's a correspondent for a magazine online called Oui Culte, Oui Cultu, which is a French way of saying we involved in culture. So thank you very much, Le Pape. And I hope that all of you who follow this live stream or come across it later on, that it may inspire you. You may see or experience something that inspires you, that uplifts you, or that just shows you a great time out of all the things that we've just gone over. Ciao for now, and have a great live stream week.